Hi, welcome back to Chase's Everything Shooting. Today's episode is about constitutional carry, the good, the bad, and the really ugly. Okay, so let's get started. Constitutional carry has been around for many years. There are 26 states in the United States that honor the constitutional carry. Our very first state to have constitutional carry was Vermont, and that was in 1777, a year after our independence. And the last state to institute constitutional carry was the 26th state, which was, wait for it, Florida. And that was in 2023. Also in 2023, Texas established its constitutional carry. Let's get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, the good, constitutional carry, that's phenomenal. There's only 26 states. And so there's a lot of other states that don't allow you to have that privilege. And that is a great privilege to have. And our founding fathers, I really feel, with the Second Amendment, was saying you have the right to protect yourself, your family, from any outward dangers. And that could be even from the government. And so constitutional carry kind of follows through with that in the Second Amendment. Now, there's a lot of advocates out there that believe the Second Amendment guarantees the right to carry all the time. And you know what? I would agree with that, but I kind of disagree. The Second Amendment allows us to protect ourselves from tyranny and from anything else that could be a danger to us as an individual or our families. Along with that comes a burden. And that burden is that if we have those rights, which we do, inalienable rights, we have a responsibility to do and carry out constitutional carry in the best means that we can. And a lot of times people feel that there are restrictions, should be restrictions on constitutional carry. And if you look at what the mainstream media says, is constitutional carry is going to be the wild, wild west. People are going to be carrying their firearms, are going to be shooting and killing each other on the streets, and crime rates are going to go through the roof. Well, we know historically that that's not factual. The data doesn't show it, the statistics don't show it. It really comes back to a armed society as a polite society. And so let's kind of talk about some more of the good about the constitutional carry. Constitutional carry is a way to uphold and protect the rights without any government permits. Okay? Now, that's a big statement right there, but it's very, very true. And that's one of the great things about constitutional carry is it kind of opens up the avenues of carrying. Now, in some states, you can constitutional carry openly. In some states, you can constitutional carry only by concealed carry. So there's each state has its own guidelines, and that's one of the things I want to talk about today. There are a few advocates out there that talk about the Second Amendment guaranteeing all of our firearms rights. And you know what? I do believe that the Second Amendment does give us all those rights. But with rights comes responsibility. And in my opinion, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to be right on the bottom of their keyboards, oh, you have to look at that responsibility and you have to understand that it is a huge responsibility. It's because you own a firearm doesn't mean you're qualified to carry that firearm in public. I know there's going to be a lot of people going crazy about that. Constitutional carry simplifies the process of carrying a weapon and eliminating the need for a permit. Pardon me, getting over cold here. Well, here we go. You don't have to have a specialized permit to carry in a constitutional state. Now, there are some restrictions to that depending on how you're carrying and what you're carrying. But overall, it definitely allows an individual to carry and protect themselves and their family from any type of danger. Now, constitutional carry ensures equal protection under the law as it allows all law abiding, hmm, law abiding citizens to exercise their Second Amendment rights without any discrimination based on factors of income, based on race, based on location, based on firearm. Okay? So it definitely opens up the arena for us to be able to carry. Now, again, constitutional carry, each state has their own guidelines. And part of why I'm doing this episode is that we all need to understand that you can't just strap your firearm on and go anywhere you want to in any one of these constitutional states because there are limitations. So let's get to the limitations, which I'm going to call the bad. All right. Now, these are some of the restrictions and some of the things you need to think about when you're carrying in a constitutional state, traveling to, traveling through, some of the things that you need to know. Now, one of the things is that constitutional carry states all have different guidelines on open carry. And open carry can be a firearm, open carry can be a pistol, a long rifle, a shotgun, depending on that state's regulations, that falls under the constitutional carry. Many states have real tough guidelines on what type of firearm you can carry, be it a pistol, be it a rifle, or be it a shotgun. Some states have restrictions on concealed carry of knives. And those restrictions can be how long the blade is. Is it a fixed blade? Is the blade propelled by a spring? There are a lot of those little things. So something to know about is that constitutional carry does cover knives in certain states. So know those restrictions. Now, one of the things I'm really, when I started doing all this research, I kind of figured out is that none of the states are all the same when it comes to carry, be it out, open, or concealed. Now, they have age limits, and some of those age limits, the minimum age is 18. A lot of states do 19, some do 20, some do 21. Most states will always look at the 21. I know here in Texas, they talked about a 21-year age limit, and they've been fighting that constitutionally because they said that there shouldn't be a limit on age. So I know that's in the works, and I know there's other states that have the same thing. So just be aware if you're underage, under 21, that if you're going to a constitutional carry state, you need to know their guidelines on age, okay, and how you can constitutional carry. Now, one of the things that's really come up to me is that in certain states, you could have different county regulations than you could have as state regulations. And then down from that is you could have municipalities making their own regulations on constitutional carry. Now, I know I'm thinking the same thing. That's kind of crazy. Down from to the county to the city, you know, if the state makes the regulation, you'd think that that would be what the regulations are. But in certain states, they allow the counties and the cities, municipalities, to make specialized regulation. So, again, another one of those things, do your due diligence, know where you're going and what those guidelines are. There are states that regulate constitutional carry differently for people who live in that state and for non residents. And some of them will say, well, if you're a non resident, you can only carry this way, concealed, or you can only carry open. There's a lot of little restrictions out there, but if you're a non-resident, you need to know what those restrictions are for non-residents because each state's a little bit different. And kind of the pattern that I'm trying to put into this is that constitutional carry is phenomenal, but there are guidelines that you're going to need to know in each different state. Now, some states allow open carry and concealed carry to be done only with an unloaded firearm. Unloaded firearm? Why are you going to carry a firearm if it's unloaded? Well, that's one of the guidelines. So you need to know about how you can carry. In some states, you can have your firearm on your side and have it unloaded and have the magazine in your back pocket. And that's legal. In some states, you can put the magazine in your pistol, but you can't have one in the chamber. There's a lot of little guidelines that a lot of people don't realize, but it's something you definitely need to look into depending on the state and where you're going. Some states require, under constitutional carry, if you're going to carry concealed, that you have a concealed permit from your resident state. Now you're going, well, wait a second. Constitutional carry. Some states tell you how you can carry when you're carrying pardon me, a firearm in your vehicle. In some of those states, if you carry a firearm in an RV that you're driving, there are different regulations than if you are carrying your firearm in a regular automobile or a vehicle. So, again, one of those things you need to know. Some of those restrictions is that if you're carrying a firearm, loaded firearm, within your vehicle, it can't be within reach of the driver. Huh? Why? Oh, that doesn't make sense to me. But what are the restrictions? Some of them say that if you have a firearm in the vehicle that can be readily accessed, then that's a problem. Some of them say that they must be in some kind of locked container or container. Again, you got to know where you're traveling and what you're doing. Along with that is there's a lot of states that have talked about that container and how you can carry. Well, I know of one state, and I'm not going to put a black eye on that state, but they look at a fanny pack as being a container. And I know this isn't the 80s, and most people don't carry a firearm in a fanny pack. There are a few people that do carry firearms in fanny packs, but if you do, you need to know the regulations on that because Depending on the state, that could be an outside container and it falls under different guidelines. Now let's get down to what's going on if you're carrying within a state park. Okay? Constitutional carry in a state park is not always grandfathered in. Okay? Let me rephrase that. Or wait, let me not rephrase it. Let's just say it again. Constitutional carry is not always guaranteed in a state park. There are regulations within state parks, and depending on that state park, it could be a lease from the federal government, which means there are different guidelines than would fall under the normal state guidelines. So, again, trying to make you aware there are differences in all the different states. Now, also with federal parks. Now, federal parks, you do have the ability to carry, and you're limited to where you can carry in a state park. Pardon me. If you're hiking, you can. If you're hunting, you can carry. There are a lot of different avenues of carrying in a federal park. Again, know the federal park. Know what you're getting yourself into. Talk about the ugly. Well, there is some ugly to this. There's actually a lot of ugly to this. In various states, and they all have different rules and guidelines, constitutional carry means something different in each state. And if you were traveling or carrying in that state, you open yourself up to prosecution if you make any mistakes. If you don't know the guidelines and the rules, you open yourself up. Now, coming to Texas, you need to know about the 51% law, which is you can't carry a firearm into a restaurant slash bar if 51% of the income is derived by alcohol. Now, you know what? I have heard around the state that there are some people getting busted for this. Well, you're a constitutional carry state, but you still have to know the guidelines. Here's the thing. A lot of the constitutional carry states, they're going to be pretty cool if you make a mistake, but it's still going to cost you. Okay? You're going to be arrested, most likely, and then you're going to have to pay to bail out, and then you're going to have to pay an attorney to represent you to most likely get you off of what this is, but there's no guarantees to that. If you've really broken one of those rules in their state, they can nail you to the cross if they want to. Now, a lot of constitutional carry states, they're pretty relaxed and they're pretty lenient on mistakes. But you know what? Each county and each city has a district attorney. And those district attorneys may be woke. They may not like constitutional carry. And they may want to make an example of you. Now, I know that this is starting to happen a little bit, very, very little, but it's happening a little bit. I'm kind of reading some of the things that are happening. But you need to be aware that there is an ugly side to this. And the ugly side is that if something happens, you're at the mercy of the local DA, be it a city, county, and then you've got the state that has their attorney general. And so you have to really know and be very careful of what you do because there is an ugly side. I'd hate to see anybody go to jail, but there is a huge possibility, depending on the rules you break, what happens, what the incident is. You just need to know that there are a lot of different rules for constitutional carry, and each state, county, or city or municipality may have different rules. You need to do your due diligence. Hey, hate to be a bummer on this, but that's just the way it is. Hey, thank you very much for coming by and watching this. Please like and subscribe. And just know that if you've subscribed before, to verify that you're still subscribed because there's some weird things going on with the algorithm. Hey, thank you again, and I enjoy doing this.